Hello, Pedals to Wise. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brill. If you're new here, I am the one that shares all things feminine power, dating, vetting, discernment, spiritual self-worth, and living a high-value life. So I'm going to wait a moment for everybody to get into the room. I'm going to do some checks. That is my check to make sure that my audio is being received properly. So I'm going to wait for everyone to get in the room a little bit before we jump into soft power. Okay. I think the biggest question today is going to be, what is soft power? Soft power is charisma. Soft power is influence. Soft power is emotional intelligence. Soft power are the subtle things that we do without even recognizing that we're doing them. So soft power is the language that our presence speak. Your presence speaks a language before you even open your mouth. Your eyes express your emotions and feelings. Your voice is the instrument that you don't even realize that you're welding. That is what soft power is. So we're going to talk about it specifically in dating today. But soft power can be utilized in business. It can be utilized in friendships. It can be utilized in family. Soft power is the power that most people do not even see coming. Most people do not have any defenses set up for soft power, by the way. And so I have 12 soft power moves that you can utilize in dating. And the first one, let's jump right on into it, is the eyes. Soft eyes. I know you're like, what do you mean, Braille? Soft eyes. Your eyes are the windows to the soul. Your eyes express and emote. And so your eyes can let people know how you're feeling. Your eyes let people know if you're afraid. Your eyes let people know if you're sad. So utilizing that expression that your eyes give off, letting people in, letting people experience the softness that is you. That is a power move in itself, and also creates a set of intimacy between you and the person that you're utilizing the soft power with. Like I said, it's not just about men, but I'm quite sure, according to the things I talk about on this platform, on this channel, that men are in the forefront when we think about using soft power moves. But the first one is soft eye contact. Learning to utilize your soft eye contact, learning to communicate and express and emote with your eyes. Hey, Miss Feels Goods. Hey, I love your name. I love your name because I'm feeling good. I love that name. Great username, to especially express and show up in a way that is so positive and inviting. I love that. But soft eye contact is number one. I'm going to keep with my number today. I'm going to try to keep up. That's why I have my little notes here today. I have my notes here today so I can keep up with the numbering and keep up with the conversation that I'm going to have when it comes to soft power moves. Okay, number two, another soft power move that you can utilize is pause before you speak. And see, this is a thing that I really have incorporated and integrated within me, that I had to get off TikTok because um I could not get the conversation off the ground in the amount of time that TikTok desired, because I am so integrated in soft power that's the reason why I'm not on TikTok any longer. I used to be on TikTok. I probably had about 10,000 followers, but I kind of got off of it because I got tired of fighting with the time. And, I like to pause. And the reason why pausing and, pausing before you speak, giving it about maybe 1 to 2 seconds of pause is so powerful, because it gives the idea, the mentality that you think before you speak. That you think before you speak. Thinking before you speak creates a wonderful tension. If you're constantly talking and you're over talking and you always have a ready response, if you always have something to say, there's nothing to anticipate. But if I'm sitting here, I'm like, and I'm just, oh, this is what happened, and I just give my little 1 to 2 minute pause in between breaths, in between the times that I speak, it creates wonderful tension. Because most times when I know personally, since like I said, I'm integrated in soft power, and it's something I've incorporated in my day to day and the way that I live my life, people are hanging on to the last thing that I said to see what I'm going to say next. And that's what you get when you learn how to pause, to slow down. And it also people are able to see that you think before you speak, which is something that I think everyone needs to incorporate, being able to think before you speak, because it also, not only does it create tension, it lets people know that I'm a thinker. I don't just say the first thing that comes off the top of my head. I don't just blurt stuff out. Everything that I put out here, everything that I've communicated with you is powerful because of the fact that I've thought about it. And like I said, that's the thing that kind of pushed me away from TikTok, because TikTok kind of encourages people to speak before they think. And I couldn't keep up with the time requirement either, because short form content works a lot better on TikTok than it does on YouTube. So I came home to YouTube and just kind of pared my social media down to just YouTube. This is where I am if you want to interact with me. This is where I am if you want to work with me. This is where I am if you want to accept any of my invitations into my membership or into my courses, because I'm on YouTube. But pause before you speak. People are paying attention. And do you know, I'm not sure if you're aware, when you pause before you speak, people can tell that you're thinking before you speak. People tend to look up when they're thinking. People tend to look away when they're thinking. And see, everything that you're doing, the nonverbal communication that you're giving off, it communicates something to everyone. So your presence immediately, when you walk in a room, when you walk into a room, when you walk in the date, you are already speaking and communicating with that person. You haven't opened your mouth. Your eyes are speaking. Your body language is speaking. Every part of you is communicating something to him. You get to control what you want to be communicated to him. So, number 2, pause before you speak. Number 3, minimal movement, maximum presence. Um, I think I came across a video a while back where young women were talking about on dates. They didn't really know what to do with themselves, because at that time, YouTube was kind of encouraging women to be quiet on dates, and that silence had power. And I agree with that. But they started giving out pieces of advice like plait your hair. And you all know that's a nervous gesture. That gives off that you're nervous. That gives off that you're fidgety. If you're constantly like moving your hands, moving your legs, or you're touching something, you're constantly doing something, and you're not still, you're communicating him that you may be nervous, or you may be insecure, or you just don't know what to do. And that is not something that you want to communicate to someone if you're absolutely trying to move in power and love instead of giving your power away. So you want to have minimal movements and maximum presence. It's a form of soft command. If I'm sitting here in my stillness and I'm sitting here just relaxing, I'm not saying anything. I'm just listening to what you have to say. I'm just paying attention to what you're communicating. And in me paying attention to what you're communicating, you're getting from me that I feel confident. I'm very secure. I understand and I know who I am. So be aware of what you're communicating. Think back to how you've handled dates in the past. Have you been very fidgety? Have you over talked or over explained or gave too much information? If you're doing these things, you're communicating something to him. Is it what you want communicated? Do you want to communicate to him that I'm very nervous, that I don't know what I'm doing? I'm very insecure. I'm scared. I'm fearful. These are not good things to communicate to the person that you want to be with, especially if you're a woman who wants to be in her power in love, and not just give her power away while she is in love. And men recognize when you are nervous. They pick up on it very quick. So if you start twirling your hair, which is one of the tips that I heard on social media probably a couple years ago, there's like, just twirl your hair. I'm twirling my hair, right? Do I look like I'm secure? Or do I look like maybe something's going on? Or that I'm dealing with something? Do I look secure? Do I look confident? Do I look embodied? Do I look powerful? No. I look like something might be going on. That I'm concerned about something. I'm worried about something. I'm confused about something. I'm nervous about something. So self power moves are those subtle movements and power that we really don't think about. They're happening constantly, consistently. So that was number 3, minimal movements, maximum present. Number 4, Strategic silence. I'm not talking about going on dates and just sitting there mute. Okay. I'm not talking about going on dates sitting there like a lump on the log. I am not talking about going on dates and never responding. I am talking about using and utilizing strategic silence. Sometimes the most powerful move is saying nothing at all, especially, let me give you a good example of this, especially if a man is throwing something out to you and it is not up to your standards. Why would you ever take the time to argue to that man about how worthy and valuable you are that doesn't meet your standard? Actually, that's when strategic silence would be the thing you would use. You would be mute. That is when you go mute. When a person is throwing up something or giving you something that's not up to your standards, is not meeting what you desire, why would you ever waste your time and energy trying to get this person to do or say or be something else? Just be mute. That is strategic. That is silence. That is power. There's silence in wisdom. So know when to be silent. Know when to be quiet. When that person's over here talking about, oh well, I just like to go on one night stands. I mean, because when I was dating, I heard some wild stuff. I'm quite sure everyone in the chat or that's going to be watching on the replay, you probably all can think about some things you've heard on dates and some things that men said that would try to trigger you and get you out of character. And maybe at that time, you hadn't come across any of the Pedestal Wife Society, or you hadn't come across any of my content that tells you to be mute, to be silent. It's a strategy. It's powerful. And instead of trying to spend your or waste your time or energy trying to persuade that person that they shouldn't think like that, or they shouldn't be that way, or they should act that way, go on mute. Because I've had to do it too in the past. I've had to do that when went on dates, and especially when I was dating a guy. I don't like to say his name on social media because he is absolutely a part of he works for the government now. He's like a representative. Okay. But I was dating him, and he was talking about women, like him being so powerful and having so much money that he should be able to have multiple women, that he should be able to, to date me and multiple women, and I would be fine because I could just sit at home and just, spend his money. And see, that's not something I desired. Instead of me constantly going back and forth with him about what I don't want, what I won't stand for, I went on mute. I think that scared him more because he stopped talking. That he stopped talking when he realized I'm not going to give him what he was looking for. He's not going to be able to trigger me into going into a rant about men, or a rant into how he should be treating me. Because when you have standards, you are the standard. You don't have to discuss or tell people or try to persuade them that you are the standard, but you are the standard. Hey, Dale 340. So 4 is strategic silent. Know when to go on mute. Know when to be quiet. Number 5 is about randomly laughing at something that isn't funny. It's not funny. He is not that funny. The joke that he gave you was really flat, but you're laughing because you don't know what to do next. You're laughing because you're feeling in the space. You're laughing because you think that it's gonna get you the attention you desire from him because you think he's funny, but it's not effective in the way that you think it should be. So understated laughter, and this means being genuine about laughter, being genuine something is funny, being genuine when he's actually funny. And I think this also plays into the part where you meet men who think they're funny, but they're not funny. They think they're funny because some woman has always laughed at that particular joke and it falls flat, but it was always flat. It was never a good joke. He just didn't know it. Be genuine in your laughter and understated with it. A woman who enjoys herself without needing to overdo it is deeply attractive. Number 6, soft no. You do not have to be rude to be firm. A soft no sounds like, I don't do that. Thank you, but no. When you deliver a boundary in a calm, kind, and clear way, it makes people respect you instantly. Soft doesn't mean weak. It means self-respecting. So you do not, okay, and I want you to hear me, because I think that we put so much emphasis on persona and appearing to be something that we are not. that when it comes to our nose, we're exaggerating and being over dramatic about it. When it would come across a lot better if you're just firm in it. And being firm in your no, being assertive in your no, and ending the conversation with that. No explaining your no. No trying to get people or allowing space for people to come in and persuade you that your no doesn't mean anything. So just saying no, a soft no, letting a person know that no, I'm not open for that. No, I don't. That doesn't feel good. No, I don't like that. No, but thank you. That is all you need. You do not have to go overboard letting someone know that you mean no. And that's number 6. Number 7, gentle touch with intent. Use discernment with touch. This is another tip that I saw floating around social media, and I think it can be very dangerous, because one of the things I want women of my community to understand: men can be dangerous, and you have to be very discerning with touching a man, because men start to think things when you touch them. They think that she likes me. They think that you're attracted to him. So you have to be very discerning with touch. Touch is a good thing to kind of pull him back to the focus of you. Touch is also a good thing um, to let him know that you're present in the moment, but you have to be discerning with your touch. If a man is coming immediately on dates and the first thing out of his mouth is about sex, the first thing out of his mouth is about doing nasty things to you, you might not want to touch him, because he's going to get the wrong idea. He's already coming in with the wrong idea. So you have to have discernment with touch. Yes, gentle touch with intent is important, but you have to use it sparingly, and you have to use it knowingly. You have to make sure that you read the type of guy that you are interacting with, to make sure that touch for him is not going to cause you more problems. Because yes, men can be problematic, men can be dangerous. That is the reason why I teach soft power. I teach soft power because men can be dangerous. I teach soft power because soft power, they don't see coming. They can pull up all kinds of armor for everything else. They can pull up armor for manipulation. They can pull up armor for gaslighting. They already have something in place, something downloaded, so they can respond to manipulation or respond to gaslighting. You know what kind of knocks them off balance? Soft power. They never see you coming. And that's the one reason I teach it. And that's the one reason why I learned it from my grandmother. And I'm teaching it to you all, because soft power gives you the influence that you desire. And then one of the things I've learned is so important, especially in this, I think, in the time that we're in, where women are realizing I need money to live. They're like, oh, like, we need money to live. We need money to have kids. We need money to have the life that we desire. So now women are kind of realizing we need money, and they are, when it comes to like soft power, it gives them an edge into dealing with men, because men do not have a defense for it. Men do not have for defense. And if they're taken under your influence, they literally will charge it to the gang. They'll charge it to the gang. They be like, oh, you just was, even their friends, they be like, oh, you were just, hypnotized by her. You were just under her spell. You were under her influence. And everything that happened, or everything that you did, and they did willingly, openly, graciously, they will charge it to the game if it doesn't work out. Baby, if it is done by manipulation, men can be dangerous. And that's all I'm gonna say on that. But be very careful. And that's the reason why I teach soft power, for a very good reason. Because I used to be just like the young women out here on social media, not liking soft power, thinking it's too, because they think soft power is weak. And it's not. Soft power is not weak. Soft power is literally firmness and assertiveness too. Number 8, your voice is an instrument. Okay. Your voice is an instrument. You can use your voice to soothe, to intrigue, and to invite. Your voice carries expression, vibration, and healing. And so you have to realize that since your voice holds so much power, that you use it in a way that is going to be helpful overall. Using your voice to put a man under your influence, using your voice to express and using your voice to invite. You get to control or contain how those things are expressed through your voice. You get to decide to use your communication in a way where you can get a man to want to do anything for you. You can get a man to hold on to your last every word that you whisper, every word that you communicate. You can get a man to be under your influence just by your voice. And so you need to recognize the power that your voice holds, and utilizing that power that your voice holds, recognize it. And I want to stop here on that because I'm going to be teaching more of that in the goddess codes. I'm going to teach women how to use their voice. It's some things that my grandmother taught me. And one of the things she taught me that I have never forgotten, she said that your eyes are the ones that express, your voice is an instrument. And she taught me how to use soft power, even though at the time when she was teaching me, she really didn't say soft power. She would say, this is a woman's power. This is what a woman can do. This is how a woman can utilize her voice. This is how a woman can utilize her eyes. This is how a woman can utilize her body language. And learning that from her has been a game changer. I learned from women that even at the grand old age of 80 years old, she was getting proposals. She was getting proposals. And most of the women in my family can do that. Most of the women in my family can do that. But soft power is where all of that stems from. I started doing the research and started realizing, oh, it's just, she was talking about a woman's power, and it's really just soft power. It's just soft power. It's just subtle movements and body language and influence and charisma and emotional intelligence that helps you put the influence or own a man to the point where he wants to do these things, that he's inspired, that he takes the invitation to accept. So number 8, remember your voice is your instrument. Remember your voice holds so much power. And if you are one of those, you're like, I don't know how to use my voice. I don't know how to communicate. I don't know how to utilize it in any way to put a man under my influence. Get into the goddess codes. Matter of fact, the goddess codes have already dropped for the pedestal wives. If you're in my inner circle, the goddess codes dropped for you yesterday. I got so excited. I dropped it a day early, and it's in the section of becoming. Okay, number 9, the feminine exit. Don't overstay. Don't cling. Don't sit around. Because I've heard, I remember when I had a friend way back, and she was like, oh, we stayed into the restaurant until the restaurant closed. We were talking so well. And I said, babe, you should have left before that started. She's like, why? I said, because when you're trying to you want to make sure you leave at a time where it is positive and the vibration and energy is high. You don't want to sit here and ride that wave and keep talking until the restaurant closes. And so remember the feminine exit. Leave on a high note. Leave when the energy is high and it's very positive. Don't sit here and talk until the restaurant closes. Don't talk until they cut the lights out. You all don't understand. A lot of times this takes away from the mission because you don't talk too much. You don't overshared. You're too eager. You're communicating eagerness, by the way. You're communicating, I'm so eager to be with this man. I'm going to talk with him till the restaurant closes. I'm going to talk to him till they cut off the lights. Everything that you do, you're speaking a language. You're communicating to him. Even though it's nonverbal, the nonverbal communication is more powerful than the verbal one. Because if you tell me no, and I can see it in your energy and your body language, your no means nothing. And this is what men look at too, by the way. Men do look at that. And they gauge your no. Is your no firm? Is your no, do you mean your no? And they gauge that, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is the girl I can push about having sex with. This is the girl I can push and doing something that's against her standard. This is the girl I can cross her bound. This is the girl I can do this to, because guess what? Her no ain't firm. And I can tell in her body language. I can tell she's nervous. I can tell that she doesn't really truly know if this is what she wants for herself. And if you go into the circle of men, if you have men friends, ask them, can you tell if a woman means no or not? And I guarantee you will get an answer. And half the time, they're going to say they pushed a woman because they could tell her no did not mean no, because you're always communicating something. You're always saying something. Even if I were to sit up here and just be quiet and not say anything, my face would probably tell a story. My face would communicate to you, and you'll probably be able to get the gist of what I'm trying to say without me trying to say. Because that's what nonverbal communication is. That's what our body language and the language that is currently speaking towards you says. So number 9, the feminine exit. Number 10, observe more, reveal less. Observe, don't overshare. Hold back your story, just a little of your own story. Okay. It creates mystery. You don't have to go on dates and tell everything that you know about yourself. And I know that women have this need to want to get it out the way and to get to know a person really quickly and fast. And unfortunately, that's not how vetting works. High value vetting is a combination of questions and discernment. Some questions, you're never going to get the right answer. So trying to sit there and ask him hard-hitting questions over and over and over, and you think you're going to get some real answers, is not a good technique. And then it's even worse technique for the women who don't even believe in vetting. And yes, there are women who do not believe in vetting because they believe that anything can happen at any time. And I don't believe that. I understand human nature. I understand how to read that person, observe, and how to listen and communicate so that I can get the information I need to get the gist or get who that person is. So 10, observe more, reveal less. And no, you don't have to lie. You just have to learn how to redirect. You do not have to tell lies in order for you to tell a story, because the best way to get someone to open up, and hear me going telling all my little secrets, but here, the best way to get another person open up is to tell something about yourself. The thing is, choose something that you don't mind someone knowing. Choose something that you know will let people build off of it and have a conversation, but make sure something that you don't mind them knowing, and they'll have that conversation. But you have to realize you're not going to get all the information you need about another person through questions alone. It's observation, questions, discernment, and thoroughly vetting a person, and not just them, vetting their family also, vetting their past. I told my friend a couple of days ago, she's like, oh my gosh, his past doesn't matter. He, like 10 years ago, he went bankrupt, he didn't have any money, he had to rebuild. And I'm like, babe, a person's past is a resume. Just because they've gotten over that doesn't mean you don't need to take it in. You need to look at all of the information. Like, if you decide to dismiss 5 to 10 years of that person's life because of the fact that you feel like they have learned from that, have they? How do you truly know somebody's learned something? Like, how do you know? But I think having information gives me the ability to kind of observe their life and see, have they learned from having a bankruptcy? Have they learned from being broke? Have they learned from losing everything? Or are they doing or having the same things that's going to create the same situation? Are they going to get caught up in the same cycle over and over and over? So a person's past is a resume. If I come on social media and say, yo, I'm a murderer, I'm a killer, I'm all of these things, you should be judging me based off my past, not because you're scared of me or fearful of me, because you need to make sure that you're vetting me to discern or decide that I've changed my ways. Because I don't dismiss people. I know, like, in my life, I have a variety of people, by the way. Like, I know I live a great life. I live in a community of high value people, but I also have connections that are not so high value. I know women who were in the business. I know women who used to strip. I know women who used to do strange things for change. I know these people personally. And only reason I'm able to give them um any place in my circle is because I've been able to vet them thoroughly and realize that they learned, that they have grown, they've evolved, they've become different people. They're not the same person they were 5 years ago. But you should not dismiss if whatever that person's done 10 years ago. And God bless the women who can dismiss a man who served 20 years or 25 years and decide you want to be a wife to that man. God bless you. Because that's a little bit more than just judging the past. I'm not judging that person as a person. I can accept them as a person, but as a wife, that has hardships come with people who have records. And you have to think about that. You have to have all of the information so you can make great decisions regarding commitment or relationship with that person. All right. Number 11, subtle flattery with depth. Okay. I think this is not owed to the inner circle or the pedestal wife community, because I've always talked about the fact that a lot of women say they want to date wealthy men, but the only way that you know how to stroke his ego or flatter him is by speaking on the things that he's created or accomplished. Those men get that a dime a dozen. That does not hit home. That does not hit him in his heart. If you really want to get a man in his heart, in his feelings, and his body, then you want to focus on his character. You want to focus on things that go beyond the surface level. Let's say that you're on a date, right? And the waiter drops something. They drop, let's say, a fork, and your man picks up that fork. And you need to notice that and say something about it. That is the way, that's the opportunity to give genuine flattery. You can be like, okay. Because see, I'm more of a flirter, so you don't have to be a flirter. My lover is my dominant archetype, so I'm a flirter. So I'm gonna try not to put too much flirt in it. But it's just gonna, if it comes off that way, it's just me, okay? It's just me. You don't have to do it this way. Dig deep into your own feminine flair, your own feminine energy, and do it in the way that you need to do it. But if you need to make sure that you recognize, you say something about him picking up that fork, because that shows empathy, that shows awareness, that shows caring. And that is going to be a genuine way to flatter him. So you can be like, okay, I have to say that right there. Hold up. I'll make sure I make sure we still live, because I just saw something that said we went. Y'all can still see me, right? I want to make sure I'm not talking to myself. Make sure you can still see me. I need something just to confirm that, because it said that I went off live, and I didn't want anything to mess up the video. I need to know if the video is lagging or something's going on with the video, and then I can try to fix it. Okay. So where I left off, thank you. Yes, you're fine. Yes, can hear and see. Okay. All right. So if the waiter drops a spoon or a fork, and the guy picks it up, and it shows he has empathy, he has caring, and he's self-aware, you're gonna acknowledge that, and that's genuine flattery. And for me, I'll be like, okay, you help the waiter. You really out here being handsome and thoughtful. Okay, and that's just something you can say. You can say it in a flirty way, or you can say it in just like a playful way, whichever one is your authentic feminine energy at that time. But acknowledging that, it's gonna hit him in his heart a whole lot more if you say, "Oh my gosh, you're so wealthy, you're so rich. Oh my gosh, even you're so smart." Most of these men believe that they're smart anyway. They don't need you to acknowledge that. They want you to acknowledge character, the integrity that he shows you, the honesty that he shows him. They want you to see them. And if you're going to see them, that's how you're going to flatter them. That's how you're going to truly stroke their ego. Okay, so that's number 11. Number 12, feminine stillness. There's nothing more magnetic than a woman who can be still, unbothered, and radiant. And this woman can be still regardless if she's drinking, eating, or having conversation. Stillness is more about the internal energy that's happening within. When that person or that woman is doing her thing, she is focused on herself. So let me give you an example of this. A woman walks in the room and she's looking around. She's trying to see who sees me. She's trying to see who's looking. She's trying to see if they caught her walking through the door. That is not stillness. That is not feminine stillness. That is not magnetism. But when a woman walks into the room and she's only focused on herself, she's only focused on going where she's going or getting where she needs to go. She's not concerned about who's looking at her. She's not concerned if people saw her. This is stillness. This is personal magnetism. This is no matter what is happening, I'm still focused inward. I'm still focusing on myself. I'm still focusing on me getting where I need to go and getting where I want, doing what I need to do. And see, that is the difference. A woman who has that, it has her, it makes her even more radiant. It makes her even more magnetized. And that's feminine stillness. And you can portray that regardless of what you're doing. If you're focused on you and what you're doing, or you and your conversation, you're not too concerned if people see you. You're not too concerned if people are watching. You're not too concerned if people are taking pictures or video. You're concerned about you. You're concerned about your enjoyment. You're concerned about interacting with the people that you're hanging out with. You're more concerned about you and the things that you have going on. That is feminine stillness. That is radiance. That is magnetism. And most people, when they come through a door, like I said, it's always communicating something. The language is communicating it's communicating something regardless if you haven't said a word. And so when you walk through a door and you just too busy trying to see who see you, you're already communicating a language of that you're either insecure or that you're needy or that you're clingy, because you're saying something all the time regardless if you're not saying anything at all. So learn feminine stillness. Learn to radiate and be unbothered and to be focused on yourself. Learn to kind of tune out the entire room and create that energy where it's just you. And it makes you magnetic. It makes you more attractive. It makes people want to come towards you just because you're not as concerned as other people are. You're not as focused as other people are on what other people are doing and looking to see what other people are, doing or interacting with or whatever they're currently doing. You're not caring. So that is feminine stillness. Soft power is about you knowing your worth and embodying your presence, letting your energy speak louder than your words. All right, so let me look through chat and take a quick little break here and see what everybody's saying. Or is this live going to be pre-recorded? Yes. Also, a pro tip, please try to keep the answer short and try to answer the question of the live participants. Also, please don't get offended if it's just my advice to you. Hello, yes, no, maybe so. Yes, yours fine. Thank you. Okay, y'all, thank you all for letting me know that it's good. But these are the 12 soft power moves. I am going to be actually going a lot deeper in the goddess codes. If you are or don't know what the goddess codes are, I'm going to make sure I drop it down in the description box at the end of the video. I might go ahead and drop it in the chat so that you can also have the link, because right now there's an invitation for only $77 once the entire program is finished, and the program is 6 weeks. Once the entire program is finished, it goes up to $222. So if you're interested in the goddess codes, you're interested in soft power embodiment, because one of the things, I did not get here by just listening to YouTube videos. These are things that I had to learn so that it became natural. And now I no longer think about how to implement or input or communicate anything. One of the things that my daughter told me, my daughter said that I needed to be studied. And why do I need to be studied? Because I am magnetized to the point where people come to me. I do not go to them. And men find me wherever I am. And I don't have to be dressed up. You know how on social media they say you have to have like a perfect, be basic in the level of perfection always, constantly. You don't have to do that when you have personal magnetism. You don't have to do that when things are attracted to you. You don't have to work hard. You don't have to chase things. Things come to you. And that is what soft power is. And one of the things I wanted to do was teach soft power in a way where you keep your power. Because as women, we have the tendency to give our power away when we fall in love. We have the tendency to give our power away when we care about others. We have the tendency to be taken advantage of. And so soft power and learning to hold on to that power within you and to get the things that you want in life, and never forgetting that you are a creator. You are a creator. The life that you currently live, guess what? If you don't like something, you don't have to live that life. You do not have to endure. Life is not about enduring. You are a creator. You're a co-creator in this world that we live in. It's time to co-create. It's time to step in that energy. And the goddess code dropped, and we're talking about in the first module the rites of passage of womanhood, because I truly do believe a lot of women did not have or did not even get a percentage of what I got. I at least had my grandmother. I'm the oldest of five. Okay. And so, yes, I did experience the elder daughter thing where I was put in charge of responsibilities were heavy on my shoulders. I literally raised my siblings. Okay, so I did that, so I understand it, but I did get the information um, that was needed so that I could start my own journey. It's not completed. I would never sit on social media and say, "Hey, I know everything," but I guarantee you, the things that I do learn, I share with the pedestal art community. I share with my inner circle. I share with the YouTube membership ladies. I share with the people who are attracted to this content and who want and desire more in life. Softness and stillness are on my top list of things I'm working on. It feels so good and takes away anxiety. Absolutely. It I When it comes to being soft and still, just that being in that power of being able to be still and not be responsible for anything and only be focused on the things that I desire, I have found that I've been able to create from that. I've been able to bring that forth in my reality, just being still. Before, and I think I'm gonna talk about this coming up in a coming up upcoming video that I have coming up when I'm gonna talk about power and personas. When at one point, I think I've talked about this in Inner Circle when I talked about the fact I would have never been able to guide women when I was in my early 20s. Why? Because I felt too much. I did not understand the power of stillness, the power of quiet. I did not uh, understand the power of processing your feelings and emotions. Instead, what would happen for me is that I would embarrass myself by allowing those things to kind of explode out of me, because I was the eldest daughter. I'm the eldest of five, and I had so much responsibility that I thought I had to be resilient and I had to have grit. So I wasn't allowed to complain. I wasn't allowed to really feel. I thought that was the best way to be in the position that I was in. That was the best thing for me. And I found myself in embarrassing situations because of me not being able to practice or embody being soft, being still, and just being able to learn to, emotional intelligence, learning how to process feelings so that you don't get so overwhelmed that you do something embarrassing, that you do something that you be ashamed of. Because I did things I was ashamed of, and I talk about that behind in in my memberships, because you need to know. You need to know that what you're looking at is definitely not what I was 10 to 15 years ago, well, 20 years ago, because I'm 44 now. I would have never been able to guide women anywhere, probably to the block, to the stop sign, because my emotions were everywhere. And I think I'm going to talk about that. I am going to hit on a little bit of that in the upcoming video when I'm going to talk about the dark feminine codes and why they're so important, why you need to integrate these things so you're not a walking bomb. Because some women are walking bombs. They're nothing but fake personas, showing up in the world in a way that they don't desire to be. And they don't like who they are in their reality, but they don't see a way out. And I didn't see a way out. And I did some things, and I did some very embarrassing things just because of that. And so that's the reason why I make sure that I teach the lessons I've learned. And the bad part, I'm going to tell you all the bad part about all of this. I had the best teacher ever. My grandmother had the background of a teacher. It's just that I think because she was born in 1920. All right, I want you to think about someone's born in 1920. And I was born in 1980. I thought all of her teachings were old school. I thought her teachings weren't good for the generation and the time that we currently live in, until I really started to understand why that the teachings of our elders are still valuable today as they were back in 1920. Because one of the things that really kind of hit home, because you all know, like, because of who I am and because of my lover dominant archetype, me being a lover, I've attracted stalkers. So I've had two of them. And this is where I learned the lessons that she tried to teach me when I was under her roof. Because I left pretty early. I left at going on 17. I walked across the stage, and then I walked into my own townhome with my friend, because I've always hung out with older women. I like being around my elders. I like being around older women. I feel like they have so much wisdom to give. And so I had a friend that was older than me. She was able to get an apartment. And she's like, "You want to come live with me?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And I just jumped to the chance to do it. And I jumped to the chance to do it. And all of the teachings that my grandmother was trying to teach me kind of hit home when I became an adult and I had to take care of myself. And I was dealing with men. And I was always a woman that was ahead of her time, apparently. Um, I didn't know that you were supposed to date one at a time. Like, I've never dated one at a time. Oops, sorry. It's never been my thing. Like I said, I'm a lover. I'm a flirter. I'm that type of person that knows how to draw them in. And so I dated multiple men. And unfortunately, when you don't do it properly, you don't do it right, you can have some problems. And and the lesson that my grandmother taught me about men being dangerous and can be dangerous, it really hit home when I had two stalkers. Well, I didn't have them all at the same time either. I had a one at a time. One at a time. I had one that the reason why I got away from him is because he raped a woman. Well, I shouldn't say that on YouTube. Oops, I'm sorry. He raped a woman and he went to jail. And the second one, he never went to jail. I met my now husband, and that husband made sure that man won't even whisper across the street to me. I don't know what my husband did, but I know that man he won't even whisper across the street to me when I go home. When I go home to my little hometown, he will not whisper across the street. He would go to the other side of the street, and he never bothered me again. But if my husband, I don't know what I would have did, because women don't realize going to the police for things that men do against women, they don't care. You get no help, you get no assistance. If and Back then that was so true. I didn't realize when I started looking at the numbers, I realized it's the same thing. It's the same thing. That's the reason why my grandmother and our elders dealt with men in the way that they did. That's the reason why they utilized soft power to deal with men, because they realized that men can be dangerous. And unfortunately, women have changed, but men are still where they were in 1920. And so that's the reason why a lot of her advice still works. It still works. And I know that was a lot, but we do have an upcoming video on Wednesday where I'm going to go in deeper detail about integrating, because it has to be done. All right, so if you have any other questions, we've already been here 48 minutes. I always was prepared for this video to be kind of short in the first place, because I only had 12 soft power moves to relay to you. If you want the soft power embodiments, that's going to be in the goddess codes. That section of the goddess codes have not dropped yet. It will be dropping. Right now, we're focusing in on the rites of passage of womanhood, because there are passages of womanhood, thresholds, seasons that women have to go through in order to get the lesson so they can move on and evolve. And a lot of women are stuck because they did not celebrate, they did not move beyond that threshold, they did not move beyond the thing that's keeping them stuck. And so the first module is just focusing in on that, so that we can start celebrating women that are going through the seasons of womanhood and through that passage, and giving them the power that was denied to them. Giving that power that was denied to you if you were a woman who was, when it came to you becoming a woman, you didn't get the information you desired, and you didn't get the celebration that it deserves. Because when you become a woman, there should be a celebration involved. There should be a ritual involved. There should be conversation that needs to be passed on from woman to woman. And so in that first module, we talk about that. And I talk about how to get your power back, because from not having that, women lack the ability to complete or upgrade their identity. I only saw women to be doormats or too aggressive, combative. Having boundaries and sticking up for myself in a feminine soft way has changed. Like it is life changing. And like I said, I truly do believe that. And I can take responsibility of me not really probably doing it right. And I know they say that, hey, you shouldn't admit that you haven't done something right. It's just a mistake is just a learning, a way to learn differently. It's just getting the understanding. That's all it is. But I can admit that going through the process, one of the things that my grandmother didn't teach me was how to date. She didn't go into how to date. She did talk about men, because I think to a certain degree, she was not. She was somewhat delusioned when she started getting to the nature of man, and she started realizing this is what a man is. And she was teaching me that. She taught all of us that. Like, I have a younger sister. She taught both of us that. And so getting married, having men surround us, having men attracted to us, having men come to us, just like a drop in the bucket. It's easy. But the lessons of learning how to stay in your power while that is happening, that is the lesson that I learned. That is what I can add. She taught me about soft power. She taught me about influence. She taught me about charisma. She taught me about how to deal with men, because men can be dangerous. And she taught me from the perspective of a woman from the 1920s, how that they had these men doing things because they were under their influence. They understood that they didn't have rights. They didn't have the laws that we have to protect ourselves. So they had to go about it in a different way. And instead of us recognizing, a lot of young women like discredit the elders because of it. And I was one of them. So I'm not going to say you were alone if you did that too. I was one of them. I was thinking that she's from a different generation than I am. So we don't deal and operate in the same way. And so I had to learn, and I put all my lessons in my membership, in my YouTube videos. And I definitely invite you to be a part of my Goddess Code. Goddess Code is going to be so deep. It's going to be, I feel like I might say this all the time, but I feel like it's going to be one of the best courses I put out. And another thing, this feels good. One of the things that I remember, one of the things this is so interesting to think about it. And I'm glad you're kind of, letting me know about your experience, because you would think that when I said no in a very aggressive way or in a very argumentative way, that should relay that it's no. But unfortunately, the more aggressive and the more argumentative you are with your no, it doesn't hit home with men as much. Actually, it encourages them to try, because what it says is that I'm not sure. The more calm and firm that you are in your no, the more that it carries, the more the impact that it has. So that's very interesting when I started realizing that my soft nose have a bigger impact than my aggressive nose. Like, even when it, and you'll get the same experience even when you deal with children. Because I used to be a teacher. I was a school teacher for like 3 years until I realized it's not for me. It's too constrictive. And I was a school teacher. I was a middle school teacher. And I realized that if I was argumentative or trying to get them tone for tone, or trying to force or be combative or be dominant over them, they kind of ignored it and they acted out more. But when I was like, no, it's like it had a bigger impact. My soft nose have a bigger impact than my aggressive nose. So I realized everything that my grandmother taught me about soft power and how to influence and how to use your charisma and how to be authentic in a way that's going to be standing in your power. Because she went, of course, thinking about the year she was born in 1920s, there wasn't a lot of movement. There was a lot of control that she had that she had to let go of in marriage. And in order to get some of that power back and send it to her power, she had to use soft power. She had to come from a place of influence and using her charisma and being emotionally intelligent instead of flying off the handle because she's feeling her emotions, because her emotions are strong. Like when I tell you that woman, emotional control, emotional intelligent, top 10. Top 10. She was an expert. She was an expert. She raised five. Well, once she started getting sick, I had to step in. But still, she overall, because she was there, as babies and toddlers. I got my siblings when they were like high schoolers. And she raised all of these children. If she hadn't have been emotionally intelligent, we would have ran all over her. We would have ran all over her. And kids tend to, because kids know how to play into your emotions too. When your emotions are high and you are mad or angry, they know how to play into it so they can get the things they want from you. And she was an expert at it. And I definitely thank her. She's gone on. She's no longer with us anymore. I miss her every single day. Every single day. Every single day. All right. So, do you have any other questions about soft power moves? Let me see here. That's one other thing that I wanted to do is I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in here for the goddess codes. I will drop it into the chat. If we have any other questions, go ahead and drop the questions. I am so excited to be able to be with the pedestal wife community. It's been a while since I've put out a program. And basically, I don't even consider it a program. I'm putting out an invitation. I'm inviting you to come and commune with other like-minded women to learn how to heal yourself, how to become the divine feminine that you desire to be, how to utilize your impact and your influence, how to operate in your power instead of letting your power go. Because that's the worst thing I see that women do every day. The worst thing I see women do every single day is they fall in love and they give their power away. Not only are they giving their power away, y'all give y'all money away. That's something I can't do. I mean, I have given my power away when I first got into marriage because I was told that marriage was a specific way and I had to operate in this way. I had to operate in this way. So I did that. Let me see here. Okay, I'm getting to the thing so I can just drop it in the live right quick. Like, all right, so if you haven't subscribed, you're gonna want to subscribe. I have so much content coming forward. I have so many juicy conversations that we're gonna have coming up. You're gonna want to be a part of that. If you want to be in the goddess code and you want to accept my invitation, the link is in the chat. I'm also going to leave the link at the end of this video. It's only $77. And trust me, it's going to be so impactful. And right now, module 1 has completely dropped. The next module drops in 7 days. And that one is going to be focused in on the way of the feminine archetype, where if you are a sage, and I've talked about this prior, but I'm going to give you the instruction and direction so that you can upgrade. But I've talked about how in feminine archetypes, you may relate to that archetype, but you may relate to them in a more immature way. I am going to teach how you to become more embodied. Like if you're a mother, instead of you being in that mother energy where you feel like you got to take care of other people and you never get taken care of, you never get looked after, because that's another mistake that women make on their journey of womanhood. And the mother is an important threshold in the rites of passage, is that you give up everything. You no longer have an identity. You no longer have a personality. It's the same thing that women do with men. They give up their power, their identity, and personality for men. But then you lose everything when it comes to children. And so we're going to be talking about that. We're going to help you gain that back, to get that, to be empowered in that energy. Because all of the feminine archetype is not about you leaning into one. I talk about my dominant energy being the lover, but my second one is like the sage. It's either sage or the mystic. I can't remember exactly, but I have access to all of those energies within me. I have the nurturing of the mother. I have the energy of the mystic and spirituality. I have the energy of the sage and intellect. I have these energies are all integrated, and they help me to become whole. And that is what we're going to be doing in the goddess codes. We're going to be helping women on their journey to become whole, to become empowered, to become embodied. And so I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. All of the content that I'm going to be doing. I am ecstatic about doing it. We're going to have so much fun in next coming 6 to 10 weeks of doing new and exciting content. All right, so I've been talking long enough. If are there any questions that you have about soft power moves, or if you have any questions about the goddess code, or even membership? Because if you are an inner circle member, please do not go purchase the goddess codes. I do not want to have to give you a refund. You already have access to it. It's in the becoming. Matter of fact, let me see if I can show the inner circle where it's located at. So you don't go. You do not have to go. Okay. It's right here. Because I have so much content in inner circle. It's in the becoming section. It's there. It's already there and ready to go. And the next section, the next module two, will be going out in 7 days. All right, so I don't see any other questions. I am going to go ahead and close out. I appreciate you ladies for being here all the way to the end of the video. If you don't mind, take time to like the video and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And I will see you all on the next one. Bye.